I also one thing I observed, some people speak very natural, okay, when communicating with other people, but somehow some people were not able to make that flow naturally. So is there some kind of practice I need to put such a way that I need to talk this language in a very natural flow?
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you one very important thing. People try to copy
Okay.
an accent. You
Hmm?
try to form an accent or you try to copy an accent, but then again, you put in a lot of effort. The
Hmm.
best way to speak naturally is to understand what your natural accent is like. So,
Hmm.
whenever you speak English in a flow, that is your natural accent. The best way to improve it is don't touch the accent, but touch the pronunciation and the emphasis in the word.
Hmm.
So, which part of the word needs to be paid attention to? How somebody is pronouncing, depending on the emotion. Like, is it an urgent situation? So, the urgency in the tone will also go up and down. If it is a fun situation, you're relaxing, you're chilling with your friends, it'll be a very casual tone. So, voice
Hmm.
modulation and emphasis in the word is what enhances your accent. Your natural accent should not be touched. Because if you try to force another accent in your language, you will start messing up the spoken words, which should not be
Hmm.
done. So don't do that. Just explore your natural accent, work on the pronunciation, work on voice modulation. It will, anyways, enhance your spoken language manifold. That will help you. That's it.
Got it, ma'am. Sometimes I felt I'm not able to connect the first sentence. Let's say if I speak for one sentence, right? Then the next sentence I will not able to connect it with the previous one. Okay, that
That's fine.
connection is
That's
missing.
fine. That's fine. But you know what? The spoken language that I told you, the recording of videos and everything,
Yeah.
will give you a clearer idea as to where do you have to work personally. Because I'll tell you.
Okay.
See, if I tell you, you and I, we've only had a couple of sessions. We are sitting here. I might tell you something. You might forget exactly what
Hmm.
we've talked about. Or, sometimes you might feel, but I feel this is fine. So I don't like being pinpointed onto this. Or, you might forget suggestion. You might not like somebody's suggestion. Depends. It happens
Hmm.
from person to person. But in that case, until you realize where you have to work, you will not make a change consciously.
Hmm.
Might take people's suggestions, but you might feel, I don't feel comfortable making this change now. I'll see in the future. So, until and unless you see yourself speaking and see that I want this to be done, why? Because I want to speak like this. So, that change will not happen until you make it happen. For that, sometimes you have to explore and see where do I lack. Here,
Hmm.
once you've learned the language, once you've started understanding the language, that modification is more like self reflection. Once you start doing that, it gets a little better. So start doing that. Only then, any suggestion or any activity which is being given to you, you will realize, and you can always modify it according to your need and your plan. So these are just generic exercises which may or may not work for everybody. But at the end of the day, you feel like, oh, this is working for me, I'll just stick to this. So you can always do that, whatever floats your boat. What have you been doing for whatever time that you get for yourself? So anything new that you've learned over a period of time?
Yeah, actually, I'm improving my vocabulary along with that sentence
Mm-hmm.
structure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and learning new vocabulary, learning something new connectors. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but while incorporating that in the like while conversing with the people, I'm not able to do that.
All right.
Somehow I'm forcing myself to
Mhm.
incorporate all these things that I'm learning so
All right.
far.
Okay, so basically you were saying that you are enhancing your vocabulary, but you're not getting an opportunity to use it. Is that what you're trying to
Yes.
tell me? All right. So when you say you're learning new vocabulary, could you elaborate on the fact how are you learning new vocabulary?
Okay, so I'm learning every single day one new vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
Along with that, I'm making some sentences
Hmm.
using that vocabulary.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's how I'm learning the vocabulary.
All right. I'll give a very humble suggestion here. See what
Okay.
happens whenever it's not just you, it's me also or anybody else. When we try to read a book, we listen to podcasts, we note things down. You might
Hmm.
search for the meaning of the word also. You
Hmm.
might come across, hypothetically speaking, 50 words today,
Hmm.
right? Roughly. Now, what happens is we have a huge list of words, but we might not be able to use them on a daily basis. We are keeping a record of the words. The easiest way to use and incorporate new vocabulary is to replace the basic words related to the same word you're already using. I'll give you an
Hmm.
example. If I say, I give this example to everybody, so this is the most basic example. I say, do you drive a car or a bike?
Yeah, I will drive a bike.
You'll drive a bike. Perfect. So if I say it is if somebody asks you, why are you late? You will say, I was late because I was driving carefully, as driving in the rain is risky. Let's just say that.
Hmm.
Now, the basic word here, if I say, is risky, right? Now,
Hmm.
you were reading a book. You came across the word precarious. Precarious means something which is very risky or dicey. So, what will you do now? Rather than learning the new word, you will replace the word risky with precarious. What this will do
Hmm.
is every time you would want to use risky, you will remember you have a better word for the same. So
Hmm.
your effort gets cut down and you're using a better polished version of a word on a regular basis. This automatically enhances your vocabulary. So whenever you find a new word, if you're noting it down also, try to look for synonyms of the same word. You will understand or come across one of the basic words that you're using every day and then start replacing it. Or not every day, even if you're using it frequently or it already is a part of your vocabulary, it gets enhanced for the better. Try this method, this will help you, right? So with
So,
when you say you're
yeah.
trying to use it, you will actually get an opportunity to use it then.
So sometimes we don't find that context to use that
Mm-hmm.
vocabulary, right? So we are right now we have the context of vocabulary. So we were
Yeah,
able to find out that vocabulary we can use. But
yeah,
sometimes we use basic English and the
yeah,
other person is also in the same mood to use the
yeah.
basic thing only.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that we are difficult to add that vocabulary that point of time, right?
I'll give you a very good example of this. See, you are a person who has a personality online also, right? Since you
Hmm.
exist on YouTube. What you can do is that you're trying to motivate people, you're trying to educate
Hmm.
people through these videos. So rather than just making these videos, if you make those directly that kind of content when you are recording and putting it out there, not like conversational or not like podcast based,
Hmm.
right? So if you do that, you can make a script. Okay.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it is also like a version of a mirror exercise where you're recording yourself. So you
Hmm.
can give out, like you are the one who's teaching them because that is your ultimate goal. Through even through these sessions, you're trying to help a lot of more people. So for that also, you want to use those words, you can make a list of words, you can make a script out of it, you can make something fun out of it, and then record videos. Could be short videos because honestly, you also know very lengthy videos, educational videos, people don't like watching. So you
Yeah.
can kind of work on those lines and then record. At least you will start using them. And getting onto the public platform, you will use it frequently, or you will at least get to use new words. As a result, you will learn that you are using them on a daily basis for that. So you end up kind of, circulating your vocabulary, using words, making scripts, maybe making skits out of the same thing to entertain people. And you don't know where this leads to you. Maybe on a
Hmm.
global platform, maybe on a TED talk or anything. Maybe, you can make a video someday on how to give a TED talk. So what kind of
Hmm.
vocabulary to use? So you will have a lot of ideas like that. And, your subscribers would reach out, ki, we want content like that, this, what can be done? So it'll give you ideas that ways also. So you just need to find an opportunity. If you can't find it, you need to create an opportunity. As simple as that.
Perfect. I will create an opportunity to create a new short videos for
Yeah.
specifically picking up new vocabulary or idioms. Based
Mm.
on that, I will write the story as well as and I will record the short video
Absolutely. You
as well.
can always make these meme kind of videos with idioms or something
Hmm.
like that, the shorts or something, because I'm sure gets a lot more views or something. There's something like that as well on YouTube. There's some algorithm for that. So you can always kind of tap into ideas like this, which will give you more content also, saves you up on the time also. You don't have to sit and record really lengthy videos and you get to educate also. So you can keep any sort of content which is fun and light. People like consuming that content. So that is
Absolutely. And
something, yeah, please go
yeah,
on.
absolutely. So in terms of so I work professionally as well as my personally I'm running this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So when it comes to professional life, right, where I'm not able to use the advanced vocabulary, okay, because the other person who is there in the meeting, right, they are not that advanced, they are focused in the different domain itself.
Mhm.
right? So that point of time I need to use simple vocabulary. So because of that, I used to
So
keep
that's
the
fine.
conversation in very simple.
Yeah. So what you can do is when you're taking a meeting, I'm not saying
Hmm.
that you have to use fancy vocabulary all the time. Because like
Hmm.
you said, the person even at a higher authority might not be well versed in their language as you are. They might just
Hmm.
want basic conversation to be done, talk point to point and leave. And that too, when sometimes, people at higher authorities want to have a conversation, it is usually only about work. It is not about
Hmm.
you or on a personal level, as obvious as that. What you can do here is whenever you're taking a meeting or your basic vocabulary, even if you're asking your colleague for something to pass something, or if you know something has been completed, the deadline is approaching, or whatever conversation that you might have, you can always kind of, use the fancy vocabulary there at workplace. That is not to show off, but that is for you to revise. So your natural vocabulary gets enhanced. You
Hmm.
don't always have to kind of keep on molding yourself to the needs of others. Your vocabulary is your vocabulary. S-
Hmm.
When you have an enhanced vocabulary, you anyways will have a very, a methodology where you can explain it in a simple manner also. But if you only keep yourself at the basic, you will never get a chance to use the enhanced vocabulary. So try to
Yeah.
use the enhanced vocabulary. You never know the person sitting opposite you actually understands that. So don't cater only to person needs, cater to your needs. If they ask you what the meaning is, then give an explanation. As simple as that. So do that.
Perfect.
Yes, this will give you an opportunity and try to use it as much as possible, not just at your workplace, but even if
Hmm.
you're going to the mall for shopping. Because I'll tell you one thing, even when you're at your workplace, even when you're on a platform like this, or where you know that you won't be judged, but you will be helped,
Hmm.
you are very comfortable talking to people like this. Right.
Yes.
But the moment you step out and you know somebody might not help me, but when people look up to you that you are talking in a certain way, you are presenting yourself in a certain way, it gives you a confidence boost. That
Hmm.
boost is what you need to push yourself further. Platforms like these will anyways be motivational, right? Because we feel like we need to help you, we want to help you, and we will always help you. So that
Yep.
the fear of making a mistake will not be present in this conversation. So that
Hmm.
thing you have to also make sure that whenever you are out of your comfort zone, you don't leave the language. And one more suggestion would be don't push yourself too hard. The reason I say this is because when you try to do too much of the same thing over and over again, it gets so boring that you end up leaving it in the middle of it. And if you
Yeah.
achieve a certain level, you said, okay, I'm well versed, you're using advanced vocabulary on a daily basis at workplace. In your meeting,
Hmm.
your boss is praising you, and people are praising you for your language and skills. You feel like I've learned enough and I'll keep on doing it on my own. And then you kind of, lose touch with it. Language is, you never reach a level in a language. You only keep on enhancing yourself. That is there. There is no level. At this point, I'd say even I'm learning. Maybe you bring up
Yeah.
a word that, we say, I don't know the meaning of, and I learn it from you. So it's a two-way thing in learning. Right. But don't leave the concept of learning completely at any given point in time. Even if you're not, on these platforms or anything, make sure that you have some method, but go baby steps. Because
Hmm.
once
Yeah.
it gets boring, you don't feel like doing it. You feel like, yeah, I've done enough. So that is basic human psychology. Happens to the best of us, especially working professionals. Then we are like, oh,
Yeah.
anyways, we have so much work. I don't feel like doing any homework now. So that happens to all of us. So you just don't have to worry about that.
Absolutely, ma'am. So I have one last question. So how did you learn this language?
Okay. So basically, I'll tell you from the very beginning. We still have a few minutes, all right. So I went to an English medium school, right? My mom was a professor of English. So, and so much so that my mother's, how do I put it? My mother's mom, my grandmom, my maternal grandmom, and her sisters, everybody were professors.
Okay.
So we have a lineage of educators in the family, number one. And making an error in English was the biggest blunder anybody could make in the house. So they were that strict when it came to that. Apart from that, since they lived in another state for obvious reasons, apart from
Okay.
that, I ended up being an advocate. So I still practice, I have my own practice. And in the courts that I practice, English is the primemost language that we have to use. So the very flow and connection to English did not break for me.
Hmm.
Plus, I feel in my line of work, communication was extremely important. Whether in the written form, whether in an oral form, we had to communicate in fancy English or simple English. Our goal was to explain it to somebody who's sitting at a pedestal, or even to the
Hmm.
person who's on the other side of the courtroom. So, communication, I felt, and the reason I got into also teaching also was I was getting a lot of associates and interns from different parts of the country.
Hmm.
Now, with that, they were very intelligent and knew everything about law, but some of them somewhere had this underconfidence that they can't go in front and stand in front of a judge. Or,
Hmm.
they will not be able to draft this because they are not too sure of English. So they always came and made sure that I cross check the draft before it's filed. So that gave me an idea if I can help them and if I can help people at large, because I felt like the moment they were confident about themselves, they could do so much more. They opened up their mind to so many new possibilities, and some of them are doing very well in their life. Some of them have gone independent as practitioners also. So I felt like this is something I can help with more and more people and can give them a new idea and an identity. So why not? So that's how I got into this, and that is the backstory of how I have a decent spoken language. But I, as a child also, was very fond of reading books. So I think that too somewhere played a very important role. Even to date, I will go to an airport, or I will go through Amazon, and if I find a nice looking book, I'll go through the backstory and I might buy it and I read it. So for me, a good book is something that can hold my attention, that I don't want to put down. I will read the complete book. So that's how I think that has helped me. So somehow that flow and interest in the language subconsciously and unknowingly was always there. That's how.
Wonderful, ma'am. So